have a permanent budget and not try to rush it before then, because it gives us leeway to do what we want to do. Even if we put all the funds and don't change it on April 1st, that's fine, but not call it a permanent budget until April 1st. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, trustees,
Okay.
you know what she's trying to say? You have a decision to make if you want to make whatever you decide to adopt. You either adopt it as permanent or what'd you say?
Just temporary.
Temporary or permanent. You have a choice.
But
But
you
the
have until
numbers-
April 1st to make it permanent.
Right, but the numbers will be in front of you that we hope to be a permanent no matter when you would vote it in. So, because I don't want any department head starting the year, as we've tried to do in the past, that we start the year and have no idea where they're at, and then 4 months from now, there may be changes. So, the next one is the administrator's position. I lowered that from 42 to 30,000. And it could be lowered maybe possibly even further. Again, other salaries, 0, well, you know, that could be removed, but if Tracy would like to leave all these in, I'm good with it
So
too.
the other salaries, because it's a 0,000 cost center, if you have those other ones under their other salary, you can't take that one out. So
Okay.
that's just there because it has to be. Any of those with 0,000 and you have cost centers, like it says 190,000, the next one says 190,501,
Mhm.
you can't take that 0,000. I'll try again, but it wouldn't come out for me.
Okay. I guess we're all on the same page with each other.
So you don't need as much salary anymore, huh?
If you go by that schedule, you
If
do
you
not.
guys vote on that pay.
Because we're distributing it differently because it works in all the departments. But that's, again, you guys have to decide that, or else this'll change, so will the road, and so will the fire. OPERS, I cut that down from 24 to 20 because we made these reductions in salary above. Again, that would adjust, but that is a cut. A cut down from last year. Medicare, I left the same. Social Security, we don't have Social Security. But at one time, there was people paid. I was paid the first 3 months on Social Security, and that wasn't allowed.
That was, I think that was kind of a mistake.
Yeah, so we've got to fix that someday. But Medicare, I left the same. Healthcare, here's the situation with the law is, if anyone would say, I lost my coverage somewhere else, you're required as the employer to put that person on your health care. Right now, you're not paying health care for anybody. But if Adrian would lose her benefits on however she gets hers, or Jim, it would happen to Jim, or any of you trustees are eligible, fiscal officers eligible as well. If there was some reason you needed benefits, we wouldn't have it appropriated.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
That's, it's good you appropriate it, but also, every year you have a sign a waiver?
Yeah, everybody that doesn't take it signs a waiver.
So if you sign it over the year, can you, in the middle of the year, if you lose it, can you go back to it?
The law, what makes you take them on.
Okay, I just want to know if the waiver kept it for the whole year or just,
It's for a 12-month period, but it's, and there's my insurance background. It stops as soon as there's a qualifying event,
okay. But you-
meaning a job loss or a death of a husband and then they've got to come looking for benefits. I don't want to see
Okay, I
us,
got you.
that's such a big expense. I don't want to see us with our pants
Oh,
down.
no, I was just asking how that worked.
Yeah, you can't do it just for the heck of it, there has to be a reason.
Right, correct.
Yes, right.
But if you don't have it funded, where are we going to draw that money from? We're so tight. So now I based it on 20,000. Now, a full-time family, that's husband, wife, or husband, wife, kids, is on our current plan. The township itself is around 16,000 to 17,000 a year billed. Now you ask 5% of your employee to pay, but we don't know what the cost is going to be because they have it 2 times a year. The county has the right to raise your rates, and you can't run that chance that then, just like the insurance renewing in the middle of the year for the fire trucks and all that, you can't not account for a possible rate increase. So I use 20,000. We just star that there with your pen. We can up and down that number if we need to based on budget problems.
Where's Tony's healthcare coming out of?
Right now we split it. 50% road, 50% general.
No, it comes 100%.
You've been doing 100% roads?
Yeah, because we don't have anything, we didn't have anything in general fund.
General fund. So here, we're gonna
We
spend
have
some of
need.
this money. Good point,
Yeah, we
Mike.
didn't need for it, I mean, that's why he became full-time, that's why.
That is a
he
good-
he wanted health insurance, that's why he became full-time.
Right, so that's a good point. So Tracy, we're gonna have to make sure we split it that way, based on how the trustees hired him. So
Look at that
50%.
split and see how much of that 20,000 gets consumed by
Yeah.
that need to pay that payment.
He does take a single plan, so he doesn't have the family plan, so that is a lower amount. So we'll figure what that is. That's a good point. The next one is insurance benefits, the teledoc. As you can tell, we're down to unencumbered amount of about $250. And so it's $5 a month per person.
Yeah, that's close.
So, but we, again, that's what we budgeted, so I raised it to $750. And it doesn't mean that that $750 is exactly accurate. I just don't want to see us underfund the teledoc program.
Well, you know, you said you have 6.5 people. And
That'd be
that's
5 a
constant.
month,
And that's constant.
30, that'd be $32.50 a month times 12. That should only be $400. So I'll put an asterisk next to that, trustees, we'll see about that. Workers' comp, I raised it from 3 to 5. The auditing services, Tracy, I raised it to 3, even if we don't know if they're coming in or not.
But,
Go ahead.
Is that up in the air because of COVID?
I'm not sure, but we usually put some in here and then try to carry it over to next year so we don't have a big amount in the budget, you know, to grab the, you know what I'm saying? We'll put half of it this year, because it's every 2 years. And I'm not sure if it will be every 2 years or what right now, but they will be auditing us either in 21 or 22 because they're going to be focusing on anything with that CARES Act. They're going to put, they'll probably drop everything else and back off this, but they're going to focus on that CARES Act money. Because that's what I've been told in all the meetings I've been in. They're going to be watching that like a hawk, and that's why we need to be careful.
At least we need to put some money away in case
Right.
they come in.
Right,
Okay.
so that's what we were doing in the past, is half this year, half the, you know, because it was always a 2-year cycle. Half this year, and I don't think that CARES Act money will put us to be a single audit, so, you know, if we got a $750,000, we would go to single audit. And that would be every year. But that CARES Act is not putting us up to that, so I don't think, so I think we're
I
okay.
hope not.
Yeah.
The next line item is accounting fees. Tracy and I put 2,000 last year, and you know, we have not encumbered, or we've got 905 left. We don't know where accounting fees are going to go. Your UA fees, because you know, I don't know where it's going to go.
Eight something, but I'm getting a new computer this year, so
We better keep that at the 2.
every 2 years.
The next item, Tracy did an increase, or a suggested increase, from 16,393.74 to 25.5. So tell us what that
Okay,
is.
so that, and I'm gonna have to bring a resolution because I calculated the numbers wrong. But, that was a resolution you passed that had all the list of numbers. It was, 20-102. And I told you that, the auditors want us to show what we actually get in. There has to be a check and balance sheet in auditing. And we have to put something in that line, so when we get some in that goes into the property tax and the revenue, we have to have a line to take it back out to show, so they can show the in and out. That's how accounting goes, and so we have to have money in this line. We get a amount in. Montgomery County does it different, so we say we get 10,000 in, but we have to pay to Montgomery County 3,000. I'm just making up a number. So we gotta have a line in the appropriation where we take it out. So our difference, what we actually get is 7,000, is what I'm saying. If we had 10,000, they give us 10,000, we pay 3, so we actually get 7. So that's what we really count our budget, but we have to show the inflow and the outflow. And so we gotta have this as the outflow line, and that's what this line is, and it's in road,
Yeah.
lighting, police, trash, it's, but I put trash out on this line, since trash is in the general fund, this also includes trash. Because that's part of the
And you
special.
feel
stuff.
comfortable 25.5 is,
Well, I just based it on what we did last year,
okay,
and it may be less,
well, we might as well get what we need to do.
right, and because the amount that they estimated on the sheet you gave us here for the tax budget you guys voted for in October, that is the actual amount we got last year. This is just an estimate. In January, we'll get an actual number. They don't vary that much.
I understand that it's unavoidable, it's just tough that you pay your taxes and your community doesn't get everything that the people think they voted in. The county scrapes it off the top, that's difficult, so. But anyways, training, we had 5,000 last year, there is no OTA conference this year. That's one thing that may have had a little more expense, and we're gonna try to utilize some of what we talked to you in the last meeting about free training classes. So I've reduced that to 4, put an asterisk that we can even go further below that, but I reduced it to make a cut. The next one is technical and professional services. We had 0 last year. I'm recommending $5,000 in that category because we don't know with any of our equipment in the general fund, like anything that's inside that is our equipment, we've got to have something to go to be able to, if we have to hire somebody that's a technical.
See, this one was 0 because you should be using 1,120, unless you want to use it now.
Well, we can move it around. I mean, it's still in the same chart,
Let's see, this one's 1,110. 110 is administrative, 120 is like township stuff. So if it's township stuff, then what you just said is township, so it'll go 1,120. But we can put it here and just note, and you note to me what it's for, and I get it to the right numbers. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I heard what you said, but if you just put a note down there and say, this is for these, in general, this for these, then I'll get it on the right number. And if we haven't used this one online, I can delete these. I see you said remove those. Most likely we can remove the general. We didn't have janitorial service last year, did we?
No.
Okay, so we probably can move those too. And anyway, I think we took them out of the 120 line. But now you have.
Well, I'll get with you on that note, so, or whatever. So the rest of that first page, page 1 on the right-hand corner, they're all 0s except for the last one, and I don't suggest a change. Page 2, the telephone, we don't have a monthly cost for telephone. A year ago, you had protocol's monthly fee, and you still had a payment on the equipment until it paid off. You do not have a monthly, but I still think that if we have some kind of service charge for a phone problem, we need to at least keep some money in there. But I cut it from 2 to 1.
So, question on that one.
Yep.
The telephone's included in the spectrum bill. You have another line you didn't include that in?
No, because they bill
Oh,
internet is a separate bill. We
Okay.
will not have one from our phone company. There is no monthly fee.
no, but I mean, it's in with spectrum bill.
Well, our cable line feeds the computers and the phone all at once.
That's why I said you have a line for
Yeah.
yes, okay.
When we get to the internet, I do.
Okay.
Good point. The postage, you never know when the U.S. Postal Service is going to raise the rate, so I raised it from 700 to 1,000. Another reason is Tony is upticking. This was his first year. Next year, he's going to uptick more certified letters that have to go through that mailing machine. The rental, every company, I don't know if they get a price increase, but I thought we better put $100 at least into the general fund. That postage meter is split between road and fire and general, but I wanted to bump that up to 400. The next line item, printing, no change. The next line item, the co-op. If you notice, there's 000, and we originally budgeted 1,000, and we weren't billed a whole year, right, Tracy? Because we weren't using this machine over here.
Is that, I'm not sure, is he saying printing?
That's
or not co-op?
millennial.
That's the millennial one? So what is the one above it then? Because that's what it looks like we're taking on.
The one above it was just plain printing. The one above it is 2,000. That's just
So
like
I
if you
think
gotta
it looks
print
like-
flyers or something for a special event or something that you would print, or print envelopes,
So-
letterhead. That's where that would come
Okay,
out
so I think we
of.
were taking everything out of that first line. So we probably need to make sure that's clear. It looks
Yeah, I
like
wanna
it-
make sure that county co-op, which is that 5004, I wanna make sure that 2,000 is even enough to cover that, our copier that's at our building. The fire department has their own. That co-op is a 50-50 split between general and road. And so the next line item you guys already know, and I asked you about shipping the equipment back. We no longer will have an expense with ComDoc. The next one is if we were to do any hiring in the general fund area, especially if we have to advertise for, if Tracy, get her some help or something. There's no money set aside for running ads. So I only put a simple amount, a very mild amount of $500 there. The next part of it is newspaper advertising. That's your legal ads that you run. I'm still wondering how, look how close we came. And we don't have a year done yet. So we, I want to go back with I want to go to 5,000 in that this year instead of 8. So that's a little bit of a cut.
Well, we're going to the works, we didn't have work sessions. Remember when we advertised that meeting, but now we're having that work session every meeting, is helping that expense.
Yes. Next week at the OTA conference meetings that I'm going to be doing virtually, we have a list of bills that we're sending to the elected officials every year. It's called the OTA platform. You guys probably read about it. One of the things I proposed, and they've taken it on as an item, is to I'm losing my point. Oh, to allow townships to use their website solely to now announce their meetings. So you don't have to run newspaper ads anymore and pay such high rates. And of course, there's some pushback from some of the people because the local paper in their small town depends on the government money to flow through there. So, but they've asked for it and they're putting it on the template. That would be huge for us. But then, then everybody's got to have a computer to go look to see what's going on in the township. So there's an ups and a downs. Let's see, electricity. We don't no longer have an electricity cost. We don't have an other property with electricity. I've asked to remove them all together. So, you can draw a line through the 3,000. Now, parks. We have 2 bills, one inside Richardson. We have a light that sits at the end of Blue Crest, and then we have a third one at Blairwood.
Steve, the last bill I sent you says final bill.
Oh, Blue Crest?
Did you see that?
So we're done with that?
I didn't catch
It
that.
said on their final bill, so I went on and paid it. You haven't sent it back to me, but I went on and paid it because I didn't want them to bill us anymore. And so I went on and paid it. You didn't approve it, but I went on and paid it so we can get rid of that thing. But it
I
said
definitely
final
want to,
bill.
I'm going to go look for that. They told me that they were suspending the account and closing it, but they didn't tell me when, how, or what. So,
Wasn't there research done to possible credit for overbilling?
yeah, they refused to do that.
Well, let's count.
Yeah, it was a security light, not a real parking light.
Yeah.
And it's at the end of the street in the woods. It's buried in the woods. It doesn't even light anything up at all.
Right, turn it off.
So you guys were nice enough to let me go after that. Tracy helped a little bit too. So utilities, Calumet, we don't have any. We'll get to what you rent, you rent there. One business park, you no longer have any. Gasoline and diesel's already a 0 because you don't have a need to, you're not buying bunch of gasoline, diesel. Backgrounds, checks or whatever, again, it's only there in case you do decide to, hire anybody under the general fund. Again, that could be cut, or then we can cut it down. The next item, I did go up a little bit. Here, Tracy, is the internet question.
Okay.
I know that we're gonna have to make sure that number is good.
I still gotta figure out which bill is for Calumet, because I think there's two of them that come in, and I'm not sure which they are.
Well, let's get together and get that knocked out so we're not getting charged. UAN services, I added a little extra because we're all, we're working now with that, what do you call it, UAN read only, and we might have more phone calls to the UAN if we're having problems down the road. But we don't have to. You said, that I just wanted to make sure we had enough in there for those service calls. We have no security. I did put 3,000 in there for a reason. If you buy your CARES Act thing, it's taken care of if you buy multiple years, but you haven't decided yet. If you don't buy multiple years, then you're gonna have a security charge, at Calumet, starting after year 1. So I didn't want to empty that account out and close it, because you haven't decided yet. But put an asterisk there that can be cut if CARES Act pays for multiple years.
Is this for Calumet Center, or is this for?
Strictly general fund, Calumet.
So we're allowed to, are we gonna pay for that security system they dropped in there? Is that our bill? Is it?
We don't have, oh no, there's no cost to us. It's all part of the lease.
Oh, okay.
So we have
That's, when are they gonna, by the way, I'm sorry, when
No,
are they
go
gonna
ahead.
start that? Because I need to do inventory, and I need to do it on the weekends. And
I'll call them tomorrow. I don't know. That thing was dropped
Okay.
in there. You guys saw it show up about 2 months ago, and then they quit. My ceiling tiles are still out of the ceiling. They didn't come back. They didn't clean the floor up. I'll have to find out where that.
So they finally got a keypad by the door?
Yeah, you haven't noticed it? It's flashing. It's to the left of the door.
So
It's
you
our
don't
own
have to
zone.
run down the hall now?
You won't have to go to the hallway once
So
this
it's not
gets.
on yet?
right, correct.
It's not on yet. So still go out and reset the alarm in the hallway. But the idea is our area would be our own zone. Now, if you guys get the swipe cards, but if you don't, use your key, you go in the door, you put your code in, and you can stay in that zone and never worry about the rest of the building. So if you're leaving late at night, like now I left, well, they have a board meeting tonight, so there's people there. There's been a couple times where we've done it to each other. We've set the alarm and locked the people still working in the building in there. It didn't hurt anybody, but it's just an extra hassle, because you gotta go out in the parking lot and see if there are cars out there. They do the same thing for us. Anyways, that'll solve that problem. You won't need in that middle hallway unless you have a reason. Well, you'll still have a code to that middle hallway alarm. So if you still want to go out there, you can still go out there, show your family the hallway, show the building, or whatever.
And that one room was still out there. The one room.
The meeting room is out there, correct. So on meeting nights or whatever, we'll have to set that. But there was no, but that just helps us come and go, Tracy.
Okay.
Insurance premiums, I left them there the same. That is actually over what the general fund was charged, but I wanted to make sure of that. The next one that I changed was the premiums on the trustees' bonds. I took it from 3 to 5. There's a understanding, I guess, that come August, there's going to be a rate increase on bonding. Not on us, because you don't have a claim, but so I want to make sure we've got the money set aside for that increase. Tracy's bond is performed at 1544, so I left that at 2. I made another change on down there, Fund 590000, I think. No, I'm sorry, the dues and fees. And this is a question. There was a bill came in today from Tracy. Was it last year or year before you decided to vote to join Clout, the big township division of OTA? That is a renewal, and we didn't have that in the budget, so we must have paid it out of one of the line items last year. And so I don't think it's 1,000, but I wanted to make sure we had enough money in there in case there's other dues that we need to pay out of the right fund instead of somewhere else. but that could be lowered to whatever the clout payment is. If you go down to the bank service fee, it's $2,000. I suggest it go up a little bit to $3,000.
The
Acorn.
Acorn,
Oh, Paycor, I'm sorry, I'm sorry guys, Paycor. I suggest that we go up to $3,000 on that, based on what our split is. If that's too much, Tracy, you know, we can adjust that as well.
well, I guess we have to determine when we see, because the road department is gonna affect,
The others.
and it may go down, because the road department's gonna go
Yep.
up.
So I gotta put an asterisk next to that one, and that's a little bit of a leeway. Bank service charge, I mentioned, I took it up to $1,500. And that's all that I have on page 2, unless you guys have another question. Page 3. All right, here's the legal fee thing that we're all concerned about. You have, whenever you get sued by any party, you can exceed your insurance benefits. And you guys are aware that when the first lawsuit with Roush occurred, you exceeded your insurance benefits, and the township had to direct pay. You're in another lawsuit with Roush. So you can't, the last time we were lucky, we got somebody to write a private check to help you guys out of the mess. You need to set aside money, real money in that account, because it could happen to you. And you can't, you know, justify pulling it from somewhere else. So I suggest $10,000. I believe the settlement on the Roush case was about $5,500, I think, and then it was settled. But you can't, you have no idea about any lawsuit that's filed against you. So you need to put some money there, and I don't think $1,000 is enough. You guys think different, we can raise and lower it based on what you want. But you can see here that we almost used all of the $1,000 just on minor stuff. The next one is a 0, because you no longer have any cases with Ice Miller. Next one, this is the one, Tracy, I put your name next to it. Explain to us, you know, this is the garbage and trash.
This one is the City of Dayton contract.
Right. So we had 130 last year, and it's gone to 223.
Yeah, when I saw it, that's what the bill was. We had to borrow some money from another line to pay it.
Do you know what line item you took it from?
I'd have to.
Went up $100,000.
No, we just estimate, we budgeted
Oh.
130, but it didn't mean that was the actual amount, and it was just budgeted at. I think it was a little bit more the previous year, but I could find that out too. Give me a minute, or you guys can go ahead and I can.
Okay. We'll do that. The recycling program, there's going to be education. Even though you're not doing your pay-as-you-throw until next year, they are going to start the education process to try to give everybody up to a year of education. So they're asking us to contribute a little bit of money toward the programs on educating the folks with newsletters and stuff like that. So I suggest that we put, instead of 5,000, I think we should just be conservative at 3 and tell, you know, Dayton that, or the solid waste district, we have no more money to give. Because they can be silly with some of that stuff. The next one is the repairs and maintenance at Calumet. We are only responsible for, say, the hand machines quit, or we have to do something like that, the things that are sort of replaceable, we're responsible for that. Everything else is handled by the contractor. But you gotta have some money set aside in case we have to do something. You know, one of the things you can take out of there is to clean the carpets. If we decide to do that again like we did before we moved in there, or wax that floor in the middle, we have the money set aside to do that. That's what that line item is for. Printing and advertising, I reduced that to 3,000. Now that I've had time to think about this, I was going to ask you guys a question. When we advertise now, we're doing Dayton Daily News and the Daily Court Reporter out of Toledo. And it seems to me the law doesn't say that you have to do that much extension You just have to notify the media somewhere. And we're finding that we've got double expense for the same announcement. And when Tony, for instance, does all those properties of nuisances, they charged us a huge amount of money to line item those items on that ad. I wondered if we could either get rid of Dayton Daily News altogether and go court reporter, or other way around, and not both. And that would be, we would save money this year.
Yeah.
So I don't see the, Daily Court Reporter is the only one that, Tony used.
That's the only one he's sending it to.
Yeah, so they knew the charge, just the other ones, like when we hiring somebody, or.
Well, Eddie John's meetings went to both.
Right, right.
So I just want to
Maybe-
make sure you guys tell me what, what you want. So, and then I'll tell our staff you're only gonna do here. So if you guys think Dayton Daily News is the right one, we'll stop the court reporter.
Yeah, for zoning issues, we can't, nobody will know about the case. if we go
Right.
with it.
It's buried in the court reporter.
And somebody will protest that through the notification requirements for those meetings.
Okay, well, that'll help us cut, and so, cut down to 3, so that saved us 1,000. The next thing is, go ahead, Tracy.
I found the garbage, it came out of, it wasn't 100, 200, I don't know why, but maybe that was a typo. It was 137, 133, and I took, used that, there was one that said recycle program, and the one that said trash contract. So we used the recycle program, cost, trash contract, and then we used some money out of contractor service and operating supply to get the total. So we only had 130 in the trash contract, and we have 5,000 in the recycle program, but we didn't have a recycle program. So you have put 5,000 in there, we used that to pay the trash, plus 1,000 from the contractor service and that 1133 from the operating supplies. That was this year. I can go back to 19 and see how much we spent on 19, just so we can kind of get an average. But that was 137, so that 223 can go down. So maybe, I don't know, maybe 150 maybe, just to be safe.
Yeah, we just gotta cover your tail. I would say drop it down to, what do you think, trustees?
Yes, I don't know how that's going. Is it gonna go up? It was 128 and,
Everything goes up.
in 2019 it was 128. Yeah. So it went up a little bit, that
Them
10,000.
cutting out those accounts should make a little bit of a difference, but, what do you think, trustees, 150?
145?
That's not a bad number, that gives us a 20% cushion.
What number, 145 or 150?
Let's see, I'm going back to 18
It
just
would
to
be,
do that.
well, it would be, well, if you take 26 grand and 20%, so